Tonight, a follow-up to my exclusive investigative series that aired last month, Who Failed, Cameron and Rylan. 14-year-old Cameron Dale and 13-year-old Rylan Harris both died 9 months apart after running away from the Tulsa boys' home.
They were two of 226 runaway reports that the Tulsa County Sheriff's Office responded to there in 2020. I
sat down with Rylan's parents as well as a former worker at the Tulsa boys' home who tells me she was assigned to Rylan's care in the months leading up to his death. Rylan's parents are preparing a legal battle as they set out to prove that DHS and the Tulsa boys' home are responsible for the death of their son.
One of my last conversations with him, he tried to apologize to me for being born a certain way, and he knew that there was something wrong.
He said that he had wished that he wasn't adopted, and I said, I don't know what you mean. And he said, I just wish I was born to you and that I wasn't born with all these problems, because if you had had me, I wouldn't have had all these problems.
Rylan Harris was born on December 30th, 2006 to a drug-addicted mom. He was addicted to meth at birth. Doctors say the addiction caused brain damage and a lifelong battle with psychological disorders.
If you've never seen a drug-addicted baby coming through withdrawals, it will break your heart.
Kim and Ryan were just 26 and 25 years old and already had 3 children, including Rylan's older sister. They tell me they weren't planning on a 4th child, but that all changed during their first court hearing when they found out Rylan's mom was pregnant again.
Our worker looked at us and said, she's not getting him, and if you don't take him, we're not going to let you keep the daughter either. And so we had to make some tough choices because we knew that he was going to be born drug addicted. We knew that he was likely going to have some issues. Didn't know what, but yeah, we quickly fell in love, and it didn't take much.
They fostered and then adopted Rylan and his sister. Kim and Ryan separated when Rylan was 4, both remarried, and it took a collaboration of all 4 adults to care for Rylan over the years.
If you've never dealt with a child that had Rylan's diagnoses, you don't understand what a child like that is like. It's not a discipline problem, which is what most people assume. It's not a discipline problem. He was sick. He was very sick.
Kim tells me so sick, he was medicated at birth and in and out of every lockdown mental health facility in Oklahoma that would take him. Some, she says, even refused to accept him again after his first visit. Then a scare that led to a felony when 13-year-old Rylan attempted to kill his mom when she was driving.
My daughter got sick at school, so it was a one-off scenario where I didn't have a choice but to drive with him in the car alone. It was scary, but it wasn't something new for us. I mean, we normally had a plan of how to deal with things, and that was our life with Rylan.
Rylan was immediately placed in DHS custody and placed in a lockdown mental health facility. After 30 days at Integris, Ryan says he was moved by DHS from Integris to the Tulsa boys' home.
We openly begged for him not to be there. Our cries for it were ignored. We knew him better than anybody. We knew what they had, and for every ounce of sweetness that they also had, they had a sick little boy, and he needed to be somewhere safe.
DHS has declined to speak about Rylan's case, but they placed him there through a non-right to refuse contract with the boys' home in October. Michelle Garrett, a former residential youth care professional at the Tulsa boys' home with a degree in social work, reached out to the family's attorney after our series aired last month, saying in her professional opinion, DHS failed Rylan by placing him at the Tulsa boys' home.
We were kind of all pulled into that meeting and told, like, hey, we've never experienced a kid like this before. It'll be all hands on deck. We're going to do everything we can. And we all knew. We sat there and we're not ready for this. None of us are qualified to take care of this child.
In that meeting, did anybody speak up and say, boy, I don't know about this?
We all did. We all were very uneasy about it.
Michelle tells me out of the 226 runaway reports last year, she was there for nearly 100 of them.
It was scary. And you give now these kids who have been on campus, like, hey, you don't want the same thing that happened to Cameron to happen to you. And you hate using that as leverage, but you're hoping that that'll make a difference. And unfortunately, in Rylan's case, it didn't.
Do you recall anything being done after Cameron died to ensure that Rylan wouldn't die 9 months later?
No. We, although I wasn't direct staff, just as staff in general, I was hoping for a change.
And that's why Rylan's parents have decided to hire an attorney to sue DHS and the Tulsa boys' home.
Something has to change. The only way that I know to make a change is to force them to make a change, right? What else are you going to do? Plus, we still don't have answers. The most answers we have came from you. The only way to get the information or to get them to make a change, we felt, was to go forward with a lawsuit.
I reached out to the board of directors for the Tulsa Boys Home. They released a brief statement just hours ago to News on 6 saying, quote, "At Tulsa Boys Home, our focus has been and remains on the safety and healing of the boys under our care." Justin Brown, the Oklahoma Department of Human Services director, recently declined my request for an interview without explanation.